that came out through our riding season.
So, to last season, I want to say was difficult.
Yeah,
Difficult.
we're getting older.
It was, but I don't think it was difficult for that reason. There were just lots and lots of variables, and variables on the snow. So the conditions would change from one day to the next, and it was really so that was interesting.
So the season was not optimal.
It was not optimal, and
Okay.
I looked at some old I looked at some old tapes, and I'm looking at the snow conditions, and it's just oh, they were beautiful, and what I had this year was not like that. So taking a page off of Jim, he's out rehabbing his knee, and he's working on a real mild pitch, and he spent the entire season doing that and making tiny adjustments. And he'd come in and he'd tell me about the adjustments, and it would drive me a little bit nuts. I told him that. And I'm thinking, I'm not getting into that position. I'm not doing that. And so I'm listening with one ear, but I'm also looking. And then I go out, and because conditions are funky or they're doing what they're doing, and I try one of these things.
So when you say adjustments, some people would say adjustment. What do you adjust?
Okay.
Do you adjust the board? Do you adjust his
No,
body?
no.
Do you adjust his brain? I mean,
Jim
I had so many things to consider.
You were showing me like yeah, it was like a variety, pick one from column A and one from column B. And I went out, but he was watching me one time on the mountain, and your toe side, and it's like I got a mistiming here. I know it, I can feel it, but there was a suggestion, and the suggestion came from some of the stuff you were messing around with on the bunny hill. So one of them was like,
Timing issue.
Probably. It was a timing issue, but I didn't fully, and I'm going to use the word extend or let my toe side finish. That would be the best way to describe it. But also, I wasn't allowing my hip to cast out. I was leaving it back.
Yeah, it didn't bring as much body into the system that you could use.
And it was because of the variable conditions that I'm getting there, and I'm thinking, yeah, I don't want to go into that toe side. and then finally going, okay, let that go and find out. And it felt better. And it was like, oh, I could let it go to there, and I still had control. And, oh, okay. And I put that into the riding, and then I took it out, and then I put it in, and I was like, oh, this is what this does. Very neat. And it came from
my tinkering.
His tinkering and watching hard booters do something that we don't do, and going, what's that do? And then see and experiment with it. That was one. The other was I had to wait for a good condition day, and when I go out on...
When you say good condition, you're referring to the quality of the snow. I mean, you can't talk about lighting because lighting is stuck
I couldn't see that, and I got a cataract now, so I can't see anything out there. The condition soft enough on top that I know if I fall, I'm not going to hit into hard pack. Groomed, because I'm not doing that. And there was some powder, not as deep, but there was powder. So on the grooming stuff and stuff like that, I go out and I'll go through side slips, I'll do falling leaves, I'll do garlands. I'll go find the slope and do all of my kind of fundamental learning process. And I found some stuff in my body that wasn't doing what it was supposed to be doing. And I fixed it, that was nice. So there was a side slip, and I wasn't getting out of my left leg what I wanted.
So I want to say something really fast, which is cutting in on Ted. But he said fundamentals. So fundamentals you'll hear us say all the time. You got to have your fundamentals. You got to learn your fundamentals. And we've explained what fundamentals are in relationship to the line
Yeah.
through the
Yeah.
center of the board and across the board, in relationship to the body moving up, moving down, moving forward, moving up, which is tip and tail. We've explained all that. And so there are other videos you can see that on. But when we start to analyze our own riding, we're creatures of habit, and we tend to forget
Right.
those
Yeah.
fundamentals in the way we express them to you guys.
Right.
And sometimes we don't even use them in the same way. I guess the best example is that Ted has body injuries that I don't have. I have body problems that Ted doesn't have. And so do all you guys out there have different bodies than we have. So the constant line is available to you, but whether you use it the way Ted does, the way I do, or the way somebody else is, isn't important. What's important is, are you using that fundamental ideal? Not are you copying us exactly,
Right.
not do you look like us, not that you move like us. So don't get that in your head, except when you're starting out. And that's kind of crucial then. We're taking a slightly different avenue there. And I jumped in on that because I want everybody to understand when Ted's talking about fundamentals, he's talking about fundamentals that he uses, which we all use to some
Yeah.
degree, but we all use them differently.
Right. And because I know and understand those a little better now, and as I'm riding, and it's like, oh, here's an effect. What did I do to cause this? And now I go searching for that, and I can change what cause is, and I can change the effect result. So, oh, okay, this is neat. The other one I started off on was a powder run. I'm from back east. I learned to ride on ice.
Powder.
Yeah, so powder,
Powder. That deep.
powder,
Woo-hoo!
powder was
It's
was
snowing.
anything that
Woo-hoo!
came from the sky, because most of it came out of guns. But I've been struggling with that, and I've been learning it as I've moved out west, and I got better at it this season because last season there was a suggestion, and it was like, oh, okay. And I got the powder wasn't so deep that it wasn't overwhelming, and I was able to adapt my ride and change it and ride in powder and come back in and go, oh yeah, I got it. I made turns. I didn't fall over. I didn't stall. I didn't a whole bunch of things, and it was like okay, that was another one we just added into the book
So here's one
as far as
that
doing.
came in to Ted from me, and it was Ted would ride the groomers, and he would have a certain radius turn
Yeah,
and a certain timing and stuff consistently.
real habit.
And it was a habit. So I said to Ted, could you do shorter turns and not round them out so much, or quicker turns or whatever? And he goes, well, but my turns I do are comfortable. They work for my body. I said,
I'm having a good
I
time.
know,
Yeah, right.
and you're enjoying it because
Yeah.
we're in the age of riding in the car with a smile, not trying to go down a bumpy road. That's our age group. So I asked Ted, but if you try to do these different size turns, change your timing, and do all this, you'll be better prepared for the variables that he talked about in the beginning of this conversation. And I said, but if you continue to ride and just do what you do,
That's the
you'll
only
want
way
to
you're
do
going to
the
want to
same in the
turn.
powder, but maybe it'll let you, maybe it won't. And therefore, it comes down to variety.
Yeah.
Variety.
Yeah.
You got to get out of the habit of doing the same thing you do all the time. Challenge yourself, make some different turns, take some different lines, try a different way of entering a turn, try a different way of finishing a turn, try everything. I mean, just you're out there to have fun. So I'm pretty much going to wrap that up on that because we could go for hours, but we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So Ted's changes were the things that he took with you. Last thing I'm going to say, instead of three of them, is my main thing that I found this season after 30 years of snowboarding is, Jim, you don't know how the hell to get out of a chair properly. Okay? So we'll go on to that a little bit. And what I meant by that was my timing was bad rising out of the chair. In addition, I was riding on a reverse camber board in the middle
Total
with
squirrel.
with with camber underfoot, and we had extremely steep ramps
Right.
most of the season,
Yeah.
with very little time to stand on the deck and then drop. So my habit was to hang back in the chair, slide my leg out, let that part start touching the ground, and as the chair said, "You better get up now, or you're not getting out of it," I would stand up and the board would drop over the waterfall, and I would be on the back foot, sailing towards all the damn skiers that are standing in my way anyhow, which I really don't enjoy. And Ted and I do let them know, "You're in the offload." And they go, "Oh, really?" And we go, "Yeah, really." Otherwise,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say anything. Okay, so it caused me a lot of problems. It
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah.
because I injured my knee for 2 seasons, it put me in the back seat and in the fear factor for my age.
Yeah.
It caused me to not want to load or offload those chairs. So we won't go into that. That's a separate subject. But my biggest takeaway was, Jim, you've got to learn to get up on that foot and not wait in the chair. Make a move that would be more of a forward drop so that I have weight on that front foot instead of chasing it out, trying to catch up, but weight on it, lighting out with the body going to the incline, which I say and Ted say to every beginner we have in a class, line up with the hill you're going down.
I'll take
And
partial.
I didn't do it. And
I'll
I
take
paid the
partial
price.
credit for that, because there was that one day and you said, "Go ahead and get off and show me how you're not using your hands." And I'm getting off the lift like this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But then
yeah, right.
But I also, now he says that, but really quick, my whole life getting out of a chair, I would put the hand on the edge of the chair
and
push myself up
full push
from the chair. So I used my arms and my upper body to get up. I did not use my legs. So I didn't say, okay, this is a short chair. Legs, push up. I didn't do that. I used my hands. So anyhow, we're going to end that one on that, and we'll start up with another one.